Hello and welcome everyone to another busy webinar. I'm your host, Dave Meyer. So excited to be with you today, and I get to do double duty today as both a presenter for BizzyWeb and also representing one of my hobby day jobs, presenting for the Grow with Google program. So this is a kind of a twofer for me, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I enjoyed this particular topic. If you've struggled in the past to identify how to make decisions based on the data and analytics that you receive from your business, and especially if you're a client or a customer of BizzyWeb and you see all of the reports that you get from us on a weekly and monthly basis to identify kind of what's working and what's not working inside of your marketing, this webinar is definitely going to be for you. Note that we are recording, and I'll be posting this up to YouTube after we're done. So you don't need to scramble to take all kinds of notes. But if you do have something that you have a specific question about, you can either use the chat function inside of Zoom, or you can use the Q&A tool, and I will be monitoring both of those during today's event. Thank you all very much for hanging out and joining me. And let's get down to business. Now, most of the folks that have been online with me in the past or have been regular attendees to the Busy Webinar program know a little bit about BizzyWeb. So if you are brand new to us, I just wanted to give a brief overview on who we are, what we do, and how all of this stuff works. Now, since it's me, Dave, the owner and founder of BizzyWeb, I'm going to give you a little bit more detail. We were founded in 1999. So 22 years in business now, and so excited to be working with businesses, mostly manufacturing and B2B services folks that are looking for specific help on driving and generating new attention and traffic to their businesses and their websites. But then more importantly, to take all of that traffic and to start to cultivate and nurture relationships with the people that matter most, to drive additional sales, to drive additional leads, and to keep business coming back for more by being as useful as possible. We do that through all kinds of tools like HubSpot for inbound marketing. We're a platinum partner with HubSpot. For Google, where we're a Grow with Google high impact partner. And I'm also a paid speaker for the Grow with Google program. And also, of course, using tools like web design, Google Ads, email marketing, and all of the other great stuff that we use to track and monitor and drive real traffic to your business. Again, please don't be shy when you're, if you have a question or a detail that you'd like to see addressed, because this event and this topic is all about you, our BizzyWeb customers, clients, and friends. Let's get down to business. Just to set the stage, getting data really isn't the problem in growing your business anymore. We all have lots of big data. Google's opportunity is to take this huge amount of data and make it manageable for people through a tool called Google Analytics. We're looking for interconnections, patterns, themes, and we want to build in context for genuine understanding. Now, the quote from Niall Fitzgerald here, "Data makes your briefcase heavy, insights makes you rich," really ties into one of the key challenges of using analytics and data. We have plenty of data, and what you're looking for is actionable information. And what I'm looking for in specific is insights. And what do I mean by insights? Well, we're really looking for the connections and the content that can help you figure out what you need to do. That content, that information needs to be novel. It needs to be unexpected. Right? It needs to be credible, and nothing's more credible, of course, than Google Analytics and the tools that we provide to our customers. And it needs to be actionable. If you're looking to create a blog, but you have no intention of actually following through on that activity for your business, or perhaps you don't have anyone to help you generate the content for your blog, well, then asking if you should create a blog isn't really actionable. And so what we want to make sure is that we're doing and we're asking questions that you can actually answer. A great insight then should be unexpected, yet obvious in hindsight, and it just should inspire action. It needs to be useful. Let me define a few terms that I'm going to come back to over and over again in today's workshop. Data is the information that you obtain from users. This is the demographic, content, and information, their behavior, people's activity on your website. Analytics then are patterns and trends that you discover in this data. It's how you make sense of all of that information and uncover meaningful trends. And then insights is the value that you gain from data and analytics. Insights should be actionable and prescriptive. In other words, you need to know what to do next. Here's an example. Let's assume you have an e-commerce website. Data shows that you had 1,500 site visits in the past 30 days. That's great, and that's where most people just stop. Analytics show you that 30% of those people accessed your site from mobile devices, and insights reveal that visitors using mobile devices are 60% more likely to convert into customers. Bingo, there's our analytics and our insights. If you're new to data and analytics, of course, the reports that I'm going to share with you today can be a little bit overwhelming. So I want to take a look at some ways that we're going to use data to make decisions instead of relying on gut instinct. This is going to involve using our tools, notably today, Google Analytics, to see patterns in our customer usage. And before diving in, you really need to identify goals so that you can ask the right questions. We're going to start with the basics of using Google Analytics to drive better business decisions. Then we're going to go through the right answers that you should be looking for using reports. I'm going to take you through and give you a tour of the different reports that you can run inside of Google Analytics and the ways that you can actually use those reports to make real decisions. We're going to show you how to interpret those reports. And then I'm also going to show you a few other tie-ins with other Google tools. And I'm going to give you a list of links and things at the end, as well as a number of resources that you'll be able to use, including a handy lead generation calculator that's exclusive to BizzyWeb clients and friends. As I do get started today, I'm going to be showing you the old version of analytics, the classic version of analytics, which is still available and still useful. All of BizzyWeb's clients that have been set up prior to last October are going to see this version as they look at their Google Analytics. If, however, you've started your Google Analytics account, or if you just set it up now, you're going to see a newer version of analytics called Google Analytics 4. That's going to be slightly different, and I'm going to do my best to offer up some best details and a few changes. So Ursula says, I'm trying to multitask here, but may need to watch later. Will the recording be available for later viewing? And absolutely, this recording will be available later. And the place to find that recording is going to be on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/BizzyWeb. Great to see you today, Ursula. Thanks for attending, and hope you're able to stick around a little bit, and don't be shy about asking additional questions. Thank you. All right, so let's get into Google Analytics and share with you a few of the tools that you can use in this free and amazingly powerful tool that'll help you get down to brass tacks with everything that you're looking for about traffic to your most important web properties. For most of us, that's our website, but it may also be an app or a specific landing page or group of pages that you're engaging with. You want to see what that kind of traffic and who's using it and what they're doing on there. So again, Google Analytics is a free software that you can use to understand the behavior of people on your website or other app. If your goal is to increase online orders this month by 10%, you might want to know which traffic sources are bringing you the most visitors. Get Google Analytics if you don't already have it. Again, all BizzyWeb clients have Google Analytics installed on their websites. But if you don't have Google Analytics yet, you can simply go to g.co/analytics, and you'll get information and detail there from how to install to helpful and interesting details on how to use this tool. One of the things that Google does really, really well is make their tools easy to use. And that's why Google is the #1 search engine in the world. Data and information that you might be looking for from analytics might include how to understand customers, their demographics, how old or young they are, where they are in the world, their gender, their interests, and is your website meeting the expectations of new versus returning users? How to understand what people are doing on your website and how to improve your conversion rates. I'm going to talk about things like bounce rates, time on page, and a few other key metrics to look for. And of course, how to track and record goal completions as you're building. Google Analytics can help you answer reach, engage, convert, and sustain questions about your website and about your marketing. How are you connecting with people? How are they finding you? How are they connecting, and what really makes them take some next action? What makes them actually complete a action or a close? For most B2B businesses, that's simply filling out a form that's going to lead to a series of other interactions. And finally, how do you keep them coming back for more? Ideally, your website leads the user from one page of useful content to the next until they finally convert. Analytics can help you better understand your audience and the insights that their activity gives you so that you can make more strategic decisions for your business. You can learn which search terms and sources are driving the most traffic. What are people searching for in order to find you? To remedy high bounce rates, that's the action of people visiting your website and then leaving that same page without taking any other action, or a misalignment between your visitors and your website's content. Examine in detail your visitors' interaction with your site, the nature of that traffic, and why those visitors are arriving at your website in the first place. You can see demographic information for your most profitable customers. Look for useful ways to segment your users. Rather than designing one experience for everyone or the average user, look for distinct groups that might have different wants, pain points, or behaviors. You may also begin to understand the characteristics of your most profitable audiences there. You can understand what content your audience is most interested in. When you're evaluating traffic, this can help you identify who is and is not finding the stuff on your website useful. It can drive your decision-making when it comes to adding more content to deeper engage the people that matter most. And finally, to evaluate which channels are driving the most conversions. Understanding where traffic comes from and what drives conversions on your site will help for smarter advertising, smarter content decisions on specific pages, and just give you better tools and sharpen the saw in your toolbox to get you where you need to go faster. To start collecting data on your website, again, as a BizzyWeb customer, you already see this, but if you haven't yet created your Google Analytics account, just go to the link on screen, g.co/analytics. And then to create an account, you're simply going to click Start for Free, this blue button up in the upper right. If you're already a member or if you've already signed up for analytics, you can check in on your reports by clicking Sign In to Analytics. You're going to use your Google account ID. This was probably set up as the main email address of the person that BizzyWeb engages with on a day-to-day basis. If you don't have your individual account and you work with us, then I would encourage you to just reach out if you don't have access to analytics, because we have an account. We just need to give you additional access to that account. It can be helpful to collaborate with the team. And as you're setting up your Google Analytics, you may want to add your management or other people in your team to let them refer and connect with reports. You can go into and add additional people to the admin area, and by clicking on admin and clicking user management under the account or property sections. Then you simply click the blue plus sign in the upper right corner and choose add to a user or user groups. User groups are used to easily group users with like permissions together, all the way from account owners down to reviewers or just people that can view those reports without actually running reports on their own. Once your account's set up, you'll have access to reports. Keep in mind that it can take up to 24 hours for full data to start appearing in Google Analytics. As a quick tip, if you want to make sure that your reports are collecting data without waiting until the next day, just open a real-time report. This will tell you if anyone's looking at your website right now. You can then open a new window, go to your website, and take a look and make sure that your visit is being tracked and recorded. As a small note, Google Analytics can be set up to ignore specific URLs or specific IP addresses. And that's very helpful if you're a marketing person and you don't want to affect your own views. So if you know that you're going to be visiting your site a few hundred times over the next 24 hours because you're updating a page or updating a number of pieces of content, you don't necessarily want to skew your numbers. So for most of our clients, we block BizzyWeb's internal servers so that our traffic when we're editing your website isn't showing up. But also we may have done that for you so that your own numbers aren't skewing your reports. The information on the home page inside of the cards or the different sections are like quick views of the kinds of information that you're looking for. There's overall traffic and conversions reports where you can click on metrics to change the graph. You can see the number of users on your site right now, which pages they're viewing, overall conversion rates, the channels by which you acquire users, site visitors by geographic location, even user volume by day and hour. You can also customize the dashboards on the homepage by clicking customizations. Dashboards are a collection of widgets that give you an overview on the reports and metrics that you care about the most. You can define these widgets within the dashboard. You simply go in and create new widgets and look for content. So you're going to go inside of here, and then when you scroll down to the bottom, you can add additional widgets, or you can click on any of these widgets to edit them and in real time. So I want to give you some ways that Google Analytics can be used to find real business answers. As we do this, I want to introduce you to a fictional couple, Ava and Ricky, who have created an online business and are selling products and services online. Now, this is slightly different than most of our customer base, but it's really simple to see the difference or the analytics between e-commerce and individual actions and attractions. With B2B data, you're normally looking at completed leads. And so there's a few additional steps in here. So for simplicity's sake for today, I'm simply going to use an e-commerce example. Now, Ava and Ricky are small business owners who sell apparel through their online store. Up till now, Ava and Ricky have been making the most of their big decisions for e-commerce from either their own gut or ad hoc feedback from existing and past customers. So they decide to set up Google Analytics to get a better understanding of what is and isn't working so that they can make more strategic business decisions. Worthy of note as I go through these numbers that the data and the slides that I'm going to show you inside of Google Analytics is also a fictional screen. This is an actual account, but it's not actually attached to any specific business. All right, so their gut for Ava and Ricky, they created a t-shirt design. Everybody loved it, so they added it right to the top of their website banner. When sales went down for a specific item, they just put it on sale. Instead of cutting prices when sales were down, Ava and Ricky could have boosted visibility by advertising to their best markets or by trying different promotions like a buy one, get one, or a specific content piece to add value instead of just cutting prices. When Ava and Ricky started their commerce business, they assumed that their customers would primarily be women in the 35 to 44-year-old age range. And they used that to drive marketing initiatives and phrases and just kind of the tone of their website. And they did that without really collecting data. For your business or website, I recommend first that you outline your business goal. And we have this conversation all the time with our customers, so you're probably familiar with this. But I'm going to share with you a basic framework on how to outline your goals and how to outline who you're trying to connect with. And then you want to ask specific questions. These are going to be the reach, engage, convert, and sustain questions to keep your business data working for you. And I'm going to give you examples of that as well. And then finally, we're going to look at specific reports, and I'm going to give you a tour of those reports. Now, the first thing in marketing, of course, is that you need to have a specific goal. Our goal for most of us that are business owners is probably to make money. right? No big deal. That's just kind of the goal of a business. If you're a nonprofit, you're probably looking to engage additional people or get more volunteers, or maybe even raise money, AKA make money. For all of us, however, we want to make sure that you take a reasonable step into the buyer's journey or the customer or your audience's journey and start looking at the places that you can actually impact that ultimate goal. So make more money isn't necessarily a good goal for your business when it revolves around your website data and traffic. Instead, you want to actually look at what's involved in that website data and traffic to get you to that next step. So what can you actually impact? Again, it needs to be relatable. It actually needs to be something that you can do. I like and use the SMART framework for this. Is your goal specific and detailed? Can you track it and measure it? Is it realistically attainable? Is it relevant to your business? Again, this is where you want to actually look at real goals. And then is it time sensitive? So I'm going to give you an example of that for Ava and Ricky in a moment, but making sure that that goal is relevant inside of the marketing world is going to be very helpful. So again, you're probably looking for example, more traffic to your website, but simply getting more hits isn't necessarily more relevant to your business. Instead, you're looking for more qualified traffic, more purchasers, more people that are really interested and that are taking a specific action. So as you set up your SMART goals, keep that in mind. Here's Ava and Ricky's example. They want to decrease shopping cart abandonment rate to under 60% over the next quarter. In order to do this, they would use analytics to find out how many users were adding items to their cart over a period of time. And then they compare that to the total transactions during that same time period to measure that cart abandonment rate. As time goes on, they make modifications to the checkout process. And with each incremental change, they review the numbers to make sure that they're getting the desired effect. With Ava and Ricky, they were ultimately able to drive cart abandonment to under 45%. Different sites have different goals. You might be looking for online orders, for additional qualified leads, for more engagement with your website, or even brand awareness if you're a high traffic and high buck website that needs to be out in front of as many people as possible. So take a moment and just set aside your business goals. If you want to, and if you're feeling brave, you can either enter that into the Q&A pane or into the chat and just tell me what your specific goal for your business is. Again, it should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. I love using this as a little bit of time to help people sharpen this up because a lot of times we fail or we fall a little bit short on timeframes or on specificity. So what matters to you in your business? If you don't feel like sharing it with the entire group, that's fine. Just write it down. What are you looking for? For some businesses, it's going to be additional leads over a specific time frame, more appointments if you're a sales team, more phone calls coming into your business, foot traffic if you're a storefront, more downloads of a specific thing, or of course, even purchases if you're an e-commerce shop. So what matters most to you? Now that we define our goals, we can consider what questions that we need to meet to get those additional traffic and to get that content. So Pip, thank you. Pip says brand awareness and repeat customers and referrals. So for that specific example, you're going to want to look for X number of additional repeat customers over the next month or over the next quarter. For brand awareness, you would look for a higher ranking on Google or more traffic to your website based on brand searches. So that's the kind of information that you would look. And in order to get it fully smart, again, you want to make sure that you tie in a time frame. So I want 20% more views on our homepage from brand searches over the next 90 days would be a SMART goal. Great. Thanks, Pip. So as we look at the 4 questions that you need to ask, I'm going to actually tie these into specific reports that you can use inside of Google Analytics. So for reach, who is your specific audience? How are you connecting with them? We're going to look at methods like advertising, organic search, social media, and offline promotions. After people arrive to your website, you need to engage them, and you're going to look for, are they getting what they need? We're going to be looking at bounce rates here. We're going to be looking at how many pages people are visiting, and we're going to look at new versus returning users. And are new people more likely to complete, or are returning people more likely to complete actions? And that tells you how engaging your website is. Of course, where most of the money hits the road is converting. And so conversions, you want to make sure that people are completing important actions on your website, filling out a form, clicking on a specific page. If you're in e-commerce, going all the way through the purchase process. And then ultimately you want to sustain long-term relationships, get customers to return. This could be a buy one, get one program, a rewards program, an email that goes out with special deals or additional offers, etc. To recap, reach questions asked, do my customers find me online? Engage questions ask, what do they look at and engage with on my website? Convert asks, do my visitors become customers? And sustain questions ask, do my customers return? So let's take a deeper dive on each of these. For reach, you really want to look at what people are searching for in your website. If we're Ava and Ricky, their goal is to increase online orders by 10%. So they might ask, how do people find us online? Are they getting to us by Google search? Are they responding most to our advertisements? Are we getting links from our partners that we work with? Think about reach questions and look at, do they have the correct name, address, and phone number published online? Is their Google business profile filled out so that when people search for them on Google Maps and in Google search, that business name shows up with helpful and interesting data to get people more engaged? Is their website address easy to remember? And if they have an email newsletter, are people opening it and clicking through? For engage, we want to talk about what people are doing once they get to our website. Do they navigate to more than one page of your website? What's our bounce rate look like? Do they watch videos? Do they search for things on your site? Do they download spec sheets, or do they look at your menu? You might also want to think about, can people easily find specific products? Do people create accounts at checkout if you have an e-commerce site? Or are people downloading coupons? For convert insights, we want to look at how or if people are doing what we want them to do. For a B2B company, it's slightly different than a B2C or an e-commerce company, right? So for our convert questions, we're looking at how many online orders did we receive last month? And you might do this in a two-parter, how many people added to cart versus how many completions did we have? If you have a high cart abandonment rate, that probably means that you're asking too many questions or making people jump through too many hoops before completing their purchase. Make sure that you're looking at smoothing out the customer journey. Don't make them register as a full user. Let them sign in and complete a purchase as a guest, and don't ask them for their information until the very last step or to receive an email receipt, right? So make sure that you're smoothing things out as much as possible. Look at, is it easy to order from the online store? What social media channels are driving the most sales? And would coupons or sales help to increase my orders? And finally, sustain turns customers into loyal customers who continue to interact with you. Ava and Ricky might be looking for, what are people saying about my business online? Am I getting great reviews? So thinking about other questions, what color shirts would your existing customers like to see? You could submit a form or a survey to those folks. Look at your loyal and repeat customers and look where they're going, what they're looking for, and how can you reward them? So if you see that your repeat customers most often engage and order a whole different kind of product on the second go round, maybe giving them a special offer or a additional helpful tool or something else that's going to continue to reward them for engaging with you. So let's look at those reports then and take a look at the 5 different kinds of reports that you can use to get real data from your Google Analytics and from business data. Of course, we're going to look through real-time reports to see what's happening at the moment. For audience, we're going to look at who is visiting, their demographics, their interests, their language, even down to the technology and devices that they're using. Are they mostly on phones, or are they coming to me from a traditional PC? For acquisition, where are they coming from? You can look at your ABC cycle, your acquisition, behavior, conversion cycle. Basically, what people are doing on your website that leads them to connecting with you. Behavior, of course, tells you what people are doing, specifically between new versus returning customers. And finally, conversion reports are the completion of a specific activity. This is where the rubber hits the road for most of us online. So you're looking for conversions. Is your website truly successful? So let me give you a preview of what these reports look like. And again, don't be shy about asking questions. Love to interact and engage. We've got a lot of folks online today, so would love to have you with me and asking those questions as we go. For real-time reports, again, available right at the top of the report screen on the left, you're looking for what's happening on your site. If you have a big event coming up, or if you have a promotion, maybe you're going to be on the radio, you're going to be featured on the morning news, you want to see what people are doing right now on your website. So using that real-time report is going to help you find where people are viewing from. For example, maybe if you did a flyer campaign or a hang-up campaign right around dinner time when people are getting home, you want to see if people are actually looking at that page. If you do a big change to your website, you want to make sure that that hasn't dramatically changed something on your website, and it can help you tease out issues before they become big problems. So it helps you monitor and it helps you determine if specific things are doing what they want to immediately. Next, audience reports. This is going to give you insight into who your specific audience is, where they're from, what they're interested in, their geography and their language, their behavior, all the way down to technology and devices. Owners in business often have preconceived notions about who their audiences actually are. Analytics can help you learn more about that audience and detect mismatches between who you're marketing to and who you're really reaching. Now, Ava and Ricky in our example assumed that their target audience was women aged 35 to 44. What they actually see from their demo report is that their largest audience is actually males aged 25 to 34. So slightly younger males versus slightly older than the males, women. They can use this information to drive their marketing initiatives and either shore up the experience or the products that they're offering to their intended audience, or to pivot into what's obviously working and give those 25 to 34-year-old men more information and keep engaging them. As a brief aside, oftentimes it's way easier to get what's working to work even better than it is to try to fix what's not working. So if they were set and sold on engaging with women, it's probably going to be easier to get more purchases from the men that are already engaged with them than it's going to be to try and figure out and stopgap with the 34 or 35 to 44-year-old women. But you're still detecting a mismatch and you want to make sure that you're addressing that. Acquisition reports provide a window on your ABC cycle, your acquisition, behavior, conversions. Basically how you get your users, what they do on your website, and then what leads them to convert. You can see where traffic is coming from and how those channels perform. Are you getting most of your traffic from advertising or from Google search? If they are searching on Google, what keywords are they using to find you? Are they more likely to purchase from you if they search by your company name versus a product or service? This can give you information to drive your site content and build your overall content strategy. You can also look at how to target specific people via Google ad campaigns, or even look at affiliate advertising or affiliate content and other partners. If you see that a local chamber of commerce is driving a lot of new and wonderful conversions, it might be worth supporting that group or doing even more with those folks to make sure that you're maximizing that channel. Next, behavior flow reports. This is going to visualize the path that users are taking from one page or event to the next. It helps you discover what's keeping users engaged with your website. As a brief aside, you must have set up and be tracking events before they appear in Behavior Flow Report. The more organized you are about setting up your event tracking codes, the easier it is to use events or pages and events views on Behavior Flow reports. You must also have set up content groupings before they appear in this report. Ava and Ricky use Behavior Flow to guide them through any changes to their merchandise store that may affect their conversion funnel. This gives them a great view into where people are really going on their website. And it's, by the way, very addictive to look at this report. For example, at BizzyWeb, we discovered that most people look at the homepage first, of course, but then they go right to the About Us page to find out who these people are that our prospects are interested in working with, and if we can really do the job. And then they tend to look at our samples and our examples or our portfolio, and then they go to our services to see if we can connect. So they want to know about us first, and then if we can do what they want us to do. So we've spent a lot of time bolstering the About Us pages and content on our website because that's what most people want to know. Conversions are going to help you figure out if you're actually getting what you need out of your website. If you're a B2B business, you're looking for people to probably download a form or engage so that you get their information and you can proactively give folks more of what they're looking for, right? Ava and Ricky use conversion reports a lot for their merchandise store. When they make a change to their site or products, they want to make sure it has positive effects on conversions. You never want to guess. They grab a report for the recent period, make a change on their site, and then see how that either does or doesn't affect their conversions. For example, they started offering video messages to customers at checkout. This allowed their customers to upload a brief "hope you enjoy" video to a gift recipient that would be texted or emailed to the package recipient when the package was delivered. Now, this was cool, but it required an extra semi-lengthy step at checkout. Whenever you add a step to your conversions, you risk decreasing those conversions. People don't want to jump through all kinds of hoops to get what they want from your site. So Ava and Ricky designed the step to be as efficient as possible. They made it easy to skip the video and quick for someone who did want to use it. With each iteration of the feature, they measured the conversion percentage and adjusted accordingly. Other conversions that you can measure include newsletter signups, forms, appointments booked, or orders completed on your site. Within audience reports, the behavior report for new versus returning can help you gain valuable insight on how sustainable your audience is. If Ava and Ricky see that new visitors to their merchandise store are spending far more time on the site than returning folks, they may decide to incentivize first-time visitors to come back later for more. They could offer a coupon code to shoppers after they complete a first purchase. This data could also give insight into issues with the website or its content that may be preventing visitors from returning. You want to continually engage your audience. And if your website is kind of a one and done kind of a product, if people get everything that they need and there's nothing more to continually engage them, it makes it much less likely that people are going to come back for more. So what did Ava and Ricky learn by going through these reports? Using Google Analytics, they discovered that most of their gut instincts, which were driving their decisions, were a little bit off. Their top audience is 25 to 34-year-old men, not 35 to 44-year-old women, as they previously expected. So they modified the content and they pivoted into giving men's shirts slightly more prominence and looked at what wasn't clicking for their women audience or their female audience and tried to shore that up and give additional content and or help. They also discovered that most of their traffic is coming from Google search, not paid ads. So their ads aren't performing very well and they need to go back and sharpen that up. And finally, they were able to see that most of their purchases are from brand new customers and first-time visitors, not their loyal following as they previously assumed. So I want to share a few more details and get into the weeds a little bit on how to specifically interpret reports. Now I'm going to get kind of technical for a few minutes. So this might be one of the spots that you want to bookmark. So we're at 39 minutes into our presentation today or into our recording. So would encourage you to bookmark this if you want to dig deeper. Here's some terms that we want to look at inside of our Google Analytics and our business data. Now, dimensions are descriptive attributes or characteristics of data. This is stuff like browser type, landing page, campaigns are all examples of dimensions in analytics. So it's just the kind of content that we're looking at. Segments are a subset of sessions or users that share common attributes. It might be a specific location, a specific kind of browser, or a mobile versus PC, for example, or even specific age ranges. Goals, of course, are settings to track actions or conversions to your site. And hits are visitor interactions on your site that result simply in data being sent to analytics. So anytime someone visits your website, that's a hit. I always caution people not to get too excited about hits, because if people are going through 5 different pages on your website, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a better customer, but it does mean that they're at least engaged. So take it as you will. And then finally, events are a type of hit used to track user interactions with content. So a specific thing has happened. A hit is simply that they went to your website and they saw what they clicked on. An event is getting them to actually do something to interact. So I hope that's helpful. So dimensions then describe your data. If you've already set up Google Analytics, you've been using dimensions all along and you haven't noticed. Dimensions describe data. For example, the dimension city describes where a user's session originates. Values could be Minneapolis, St. Paul, Chicago, Seattle, etc. Other dimensions could include the device or browser used to access your site. Each report includes a primary dimension or a lens from which you view your data. Sometimes you might want to dig deeper than that primary dimension, and then you can add a secondary dimension. This allows us to layer on another dimension and get more in-depth on the data we're analyzing. For example, you could set your primary dimension, city, as New York, and then layer on a second dimension like browser. This will change the view of the reports that you can see how many visitors on your website came from New York City and what browser those New Yorkers use to access your site. So let's take a look. In this example, we're using a location report under the geo section. We've narrowed it down to just showing Texas, and we're looking to make some decisions on our current marketing efforts in Dallas. The primary dimension city offers a great insight as to how many users we acquired during that time frame, but it doesn't tell us where those users came from. We can view which channels are driving traffic to our site by adding a secondary dimension. In this example, our secondary dimension is going to be from the dropdown source or medium, and that's highlighted right here. Source medium describes where your traffic is coming from. The source is the place users are before they see your content. Are they on a search engine? Are they on another website? Are they on a Google search page? Medium describes how users arrived at your content. For example, medium values include organic for unpaid search traffic, or none if they're simply typing in your website address and going directly to you. Now the report will not only show the city, but how people are finding you in that city. Using filters, we can take our detailed data to the next level. Remember, I wanted to focus on the source of my traffic data, website traffic data in Dallas, but we could still see other cities in Texas. If I type Dallas in the filter and click the search button, I can now just see Dallas, the city that we wanted to focus on. Clicking on advanced allows me to use the advanced filter functions like multiple criteria, exclusions, and regular expressions. This is probably going to be helpful if you're a business that's presenting at a big trade show in a specific market. You want to see if your search results are going up and what servers or browsers people are looking for inside of that city over a specific time frame. So Digital Summit Minneapolis is coming up the next 2 days. I'm presenting at Digital Summit on Friday. Would love for you to join me. It's at digitalsummits.com. I'm going to be checking to see if people are visiting the BizzyWeb website and the specific landing page that I'm going to be talking about and promoting to give people the handout and more data, right? So I'm looking for that filter. I'm going to be looking for Minneapolis, I'm going to be looking probably for mobile versus computers because a lot of people are on computers in the stands or in the audience, but there are a lot of people that are just pulling up phones. So that's going to tell me if I should focus more on having a mobile friendly environment versus giving people a full data report. Next, segments. Segments are subsets of our analytics data that are helping us analyze and isolate trends in our business. Let's, for example, say we're Ava and Ricky, and all of our site visitors in one segment might be users from a particular country or city. Another segment might be users who only purchase t-shirts. So by doing that, we can look at the subsets of data of particular geographic locations and see that specific people are no longer purchasing hats from our merchandise store. This might give you an insight that leads you to figure out that another local business in that location is also selling hats with a similar design, but at lower prices. You could then either change your design or adjust your pricing strategy to compete in that specific location. You can use segments in your remarketing. For example, you can create a segment of users who only visit or purchase from your kids' t-shirt pages, and then target those folks with a remarketing campaign that offers new items or promotions specifically for kids. The default segment for analytics is all users, which allows you to view your data for everyone that visits your site. There's often going to be times that you want to focus on specific subsets of all users, however. Subsets of users include consumer activity on your site, such as users who have previously purchased or those who have added items to their cart but didn't complete a purchase, those shopping cart abandonment rates. Subsets of sessions include interactions by a single user that are grouped into sessions, such as all sessions originating from a holiday campaign or every session where a purchase occurred. Subsets of hits are interactions during a session. Hits can include page views, events, and transactions. An example of a hit includes a subset of sessions that resulted in revenue greater than $15. You can utilize the standard system of provided segments to view, or even compare data for different subsets of your user base. In this example, we're viewing data for several traffic source segments, as well as users that made a purchase at the same time in the demographics overview report. We can clearly see that our top age group is the same across all traffic, direct, organic, and referral, as well as those who made an actual purchase. This helps us to solidify assumptions that were made as to who our target groups are for each part of our site. To build new segments, it's pretty simple. You're just going to go in to the segments section. In this case, we're under geo and location. Click the big red button that says new segment, highlighted here, and then we're going to dial in our segment. So you're going to define that segment. For example, it might be men, age 18 to 65, living in North America, using the Chrome web browser. Then you can preview that segment to see what kind of data you're getting, and then to save it for later use, simply click Save. One of the advantages of using analytics is the way in which it communicates with other tools that are enhanced by quality data, such as Google Ads or Google Search Console. If you use multiple Google products, you can maximize the benefits. So if I'm running my analytics, I want to tie in Search Console to make sure that my website health and the keywords that I'm using and that I'm ranking for are actually driving traffic. Or especially with Google Ads, if you're just running a Google Ads report, you can see what clicks you're getting on your website. But if you tie it into analytics, you can see not only what clicks you're getting on your ads and how effective those ads are, but what people do after they get to your website. Are they more likely to actually complete a purchase? Are they more likely to browse to a different section of the website, in which case you would want to optimize for that result? To link with Google Analytics, you can learn what happens after users click on your ad. This will help you find out what's working and not. So let's say when people are searching for blue t-shirts, land on your site from Google Ads, they're likely to buy 45% of the time. And if they're searching for red t-shirts, they only buy 3% of the time. You can increase your Google ad bids for the best performing keywords. So I'm going to focus more on blue shirts versus red because that's where my money is. You can target specific users based on their behavior. By linking to Google Analytics with your account, you can define customer groups by their activity. For example, you can identify audiences who have put 3 or more items in their shopping cart, but then left without buying. By offering this specific group a temporary promotion, you may be able to convert them after they abandoned that cart to get them to come on back. You can use advanced machine learning. Google Analytics uses machine learning to get you the most out of your data, and you can better understand your organic traffic and how keywords either do or don't convert. And that tells you simply what to optimize for. To link products to analytics, you must first create an account for each product that you want to link. You go into admin, go to all products, and then under product linking, you're simply going to click the heading and property section. And then you can click the link button for each product that you want to link to in analytics. Now, this is for e-commerce, and as you're going through, as you're building this, so your mileage may vary, but it's very simple to do. Now, I've covered a ton today. I want to go back in the last few minutes, give you an option again to ask any additional questions that you have about either ads or marketing or analytics, how all of this works together, etc. And as I close out with my additional resources, again, remember that one of the resources is going to be a replay, and you're going to get there by going to youtube.com/BizzyWeb and looking for that replay. It's going to be up within about an hour. So for our potential actions, we want to, let's go back to Ava and Ricky for a minute. By reviewing Google Analytics, Ava and Ricky discovered that their top audience is 25 to 34-year-old males. Right now, if their website was designed to be related to 35 to 44-year-old women, they may need to make a handful of changes to their website design, focus on different products, focus on different services, maybe even different tones or different ideas. This may affect their ad strategy, both in the audiences that they want to target and in promotions and imagery that they're going to use. This data might also be an indication of the product changes that they may need. And by understanding that most of their traffic is usually coming from organic search, Ava and Ricky may want to review their search queries and update their ads for more effective search terms. So they're missing the mark somehow on ads. They may also need to reevaluate paid ads if they're proving ineffective. You don't want to spend money on stuff that's not generating business. Ava and Ricky also learned that most of their paying customers are new visitors to their site, so they might want to offer a loyalty program or a promotion for past customers to get them to come back for more. As we can see, Ava and Ricky learned a lot about their target audience and how to form future business decisions just by looking at the data that was available to them for free in Google Analytics. So going from here, outline your goals. Make sure that they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant to your business, and time-based. Be very specific, draw a line in the sand and say, for the next 30 days, for the next 90 days, I want to do this specific thing, and make sure that that thing is actually relevant to your business. Ask those specific questions. How do you reach your customers? How do you engage them to get them to come back for more? How do you convert them into paying customers? And how do you sustain them or get them to come back for more? Make sure that you review your tools. Is it Google Analytics? I hope so. It might be Google Search Console. It might be HubSpot for many of our customers. And make sure that all of that ties together so that you're making real business decisions. And then don't forget, if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. Look at those reports. We give our clients reports every single month. We expect and we hope to have helpful conversations to actually move forward and do more based on what's working and what's not. So make sure that you're measuring those results and taking action. If you want a little bit more and dig in a little bit deeper, there's handy app information from the Google Play Store and from the Apple App Store at g.co/primer. These are itty bitty little 5-minute or less tutorials on how to set up a Google My Business profile, how to set up Search Console, how to set up all kinds of different things or use Google tools. There's lots more information on Grow with Google on Air. There's lots of other information at Grow or google.com/grow for teachers, businesses, job seekers, and developers, where you can get as deep as you want. And then don't forget, and please do sign up for the following events coming up at BizzyWeb.com/events. We have our monthly Busy Webinar series coming up, but then we also have a number of Google events that I present on Google's behalf. We're going to talk about YouTube in a week. We're going to show you how to collaborate, work, and meet remotely. Get your local business on Google Search and Maps. If you've always wondered how you show up in Maps and get those reviews, that's how to do that. How to reach customers online with Google, which is an all-encompassing marketing talk. how to dig deeper on Google Ads and really make a fantastic ad that converts. If you want this event again, you can hit that on the 18th, or how to make your website work for you is also coming up on the 18th. I promised you one more big thing, and you're going to get a link to this as a registered attendee. Go to bit.ly/BizzyCalc for a helpful lead calculator. If you're a B2B business and you're looking for how to identify how many leads that you need and what kind of leads are going to be the most productive for your business, go to this page. It's a free download, and it's going to result in a sheet. You're just going to add some details to that sheet, and it'll automatically calculate how much content that you need to generate in order to get the leads that you're looking for, in order to hit the revenue that you're looking for. It's very, very helpful and super slick. Would love to have you connect up with me in the near future. If you have any specific questions, by all means, reach out to me. Would love to connect up, revisit. Chelsea, Gail, Grant, Crystal, Pip. Thanks, guys, for hanging on all the way to the end. And if you're attending or watching this after the fact, I see about 10 times as many replay views as we do in person. So for those folks, thanks. Go ahead and get a hold of me if you need to talk about anything else. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me. I hope this helped you generate buzz without getting stung. And we'll talk to you very soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye.